Hello and happy Friday. Well, it's Friday for me. I don't know. It's probably not Friday while I'm posting this. Maybe it is Friday while you're watching it. That'd be great if it is. I have been here before. This is Greenleaf Peak, and it's a Friday afternoon after work, so I decided I'd do a little after work activation. And this is going to be my first CW only activation. Well, I won't be CW only. I'll use my FM radio as well. But anyway, it's going to be my first Morse code activation. I've been doing summits on the air for just over a year, and I've been practicing Morse code that whole time. And I'm finally to a point that I feel like I am proficient enough to do this as a CW only activation. I'm also going to try something else new, which is I know because I was there last year that there's not a lot of space at that summit. It's a very brushy summit and there's not a lot of room to work. So I'm bringing along a vertical that I built. Obviously this is a chameleon 17-foot whip. I didn't build that, but I have these driveway stakes that I've cut in half. And then there's the part that I did build is this this vertical base. It has a BNC connector in the bottom and then 4 banana jacks there for the ground radials. We're in the middle of a major solar storm today, as luck or bad luck would have it. Last Friday, in fact, it was exactly a week ago that we had the beautiful display of the Aurora Borealis down here. So, you know, we'll see how it goes. Seems like a great time to try a CW activation. So unless there's something else worth seeing, I'm going to see you at the top of this. Okay, we're at the top, and it took me a half an hour to hike 550 feet over 0.4 miles. So not bad at all. I guess pointed out before, it's a very small activation zone up here. So the way I made this vertical work is that the legs go into these little holes in the actually, this probably makes more sense to screw this in first, like so. So we screw the tab in, and then I just slide the legs into these sockets that I designed for them. They seem to hold up. And these are like, yeah, those cheap, readily available driveway stakes you can get at Home Depot, any Home Depot. So there's my antenna setup. 17-foot whip into the base unit that has the banana jacks on the bottom, and then the radials are just kind of tossed out in about 4 directions. So I'm going to start calling CQ. I've already put up an alert, so I think I'll be okay. Oh yeah. Ah. All right, Kilo 7 Alpha Mike. Awesome. So he's in Portland, he knows me. All right, that's awesome, get somebody you know. All right. I'm gonna see if my ATU can find a match on 40 with this antenna. 2.1? 2.1 to 1? I mean, it could be worse. So here's what I'm gonna try. I have this. So I'm gonna try lengthening my vertical a little bit just with the wire that I've got available to me. So this is highly unorthodox, but you know what? I mean, I could get 2.1 to 1, which should be good enough actually, but maybe I can do better. Anything under 3 to 1 is fine, but you know, we like to, you know how we hams are. All right, so. Okay, so I didn't bring a loading coil, but I want to get on 40. And I also didn't want to set up my entire end fed half wave, so I did this unholy, I'm making this unholy abomination of an inverted L here. I have my winder sitting over here, and then it's alligator clipped to the top of my vertical whip. This wire is. We'll see what happens with this weird 40-meter antenna I just made. And it's gonna be tuned up with the Yellow Craft tuner. Let's see what we can do. 1 to 1. All right, well, let's give it a shot. This isn't working. And I suspect there's, I mean, it's terrible band conditions today, but also, which if you were hoping CW was just gonna save you from bad band conditions, there you go. It can't work miracles. But what I am gonna do, I'm gonna try this antenna on 15 meters first, see if, because sometimes 15 meters survives solar storms better. And then if that doesn't work, then I'm gonna, whoop, where's my camera? Oh yeah. So if I can't get 15 meters to work, I will set up my end-fed half wave, because I can probably use NVIS with the half wave. But let's try 15 first. So we're gonna do a little antenna swappery. All right, well that really didn't take all that long to set up the end-fed half wave. Okay, now we're trying the end-fed half wave on 40. Maybe we'll get some NVIS. I don't know. I think that might have to do with Skywave, NVIS, the fact that the end-fed half wave is getting me out on 40. Okay, well I got 5 on 40, so the Summit's qualified now, which is nice. And I've spotted on parks on the air, so the RBN is spotting me on both, so now I don't even know which ones these are coming through. I'm gonna go ahead and try 20. Gosh, this is an hour I've been up here running that GoPro. So I'm gonna have to actually turn off the GoPro for a second. I'm gonna QSY to 20 with the end-fed half wave and see if it works, gets out better on that too. Cool. So that was on 20. I think I'm doing better on 20 too, as well. Okay. So that is not a commentary on verticals altogether. This vertical didn't work very well today, but there could be another reason. So I got New York and Utah on 20 meters. So 20 meters is probably opened back up because it's getting later in the day, but also I think that, I think this is a better antenna for 20 too, as well. Okay, I think I learned something today. So first of all, I did all CW and FM, which is good. That accomplished what I wanted to accomplish, which I feel good about that. So I was using the KX2 here, and I started out doing this activation using this vertical that I built. And I only managed one 20-meter QSO with that vertical, and it was a 20-meter ground wave into Portland with Kilo 7 Alpha Mike. So that was, I mean, I would say that's unimpressive. That doesn't mean that verticals are bad. It just means that this vertical that I built didn't work very well. And that actually is good to know, because it helps explain also why I was having some trouble. I was having trouble getting out on CW 100 watts with my, I was using 100 watt CW into this antenna with my FT891, and still not getting as many contacts as you would expect with 100 watts. So I think that might be clues to what was going on. So I switched, when I was getting tired of it not working, I switched over to, I set up my end-fed half wave here. So I'm glad I brought it. I always bring the end-fed half wave. Why not? It doesn't take up a lot of space. So this is the one that I built, and it's got the homemade unun in there. And it's not even a, you know, like an ideal setup for an end-fed half wave. If you look at it, I mean, I didn't have, there's no room to work up here. So it's sitting up there, like the apex is up there in the trees. It's running against branches. And it's still, I got reports, people were talking, I've got cell phone service up here, so I was hearing from people on Slack who were trying to work me, and they told me that whatever I did, in fact, my first 40-meter contact, November Romeo 7 Yankee, told me, like, whatever I did with the antenna made a huge difference. So that was, with the 40 meters, that makes total sense. I was probably benefiting from near vertical incident skywave. I was making contacts into the Portland area, into California, actually a lot into California. And then, just for the fun of it, I tried QSY up to 20 to see if 20 would work with the end-fed half wave, and it did. I got a couple of 20-meter QSOs, including all the way over to New York, and then of course into Utah. So that worked really well. So I think I'm just going to rely on that end-fed half wave, because verticals are kind of hard to use. They have a smaller footprint, which is nice for places like this, but they're so much harder to use because they have to be self-supporting, so they're almost always heavier. But most importantly, I totally forgot talking about all that antenna stuff. This was my first CW Summits on the Air activation, and I'm so excited about that, because that was 9 Morse code contacts, and I can't tell you how exciting that is, because Morse code opens up a whole new horizon of possibilities for this particular activity, because now that basically CW turns that little 10-watt radio into the equivalent of a 100-watt radio on single sideband. And so I've got this smaller radio. Now I'm excited. Of course, it totally makes me want that KH1 radio that Elecraft makes. So it's going to take some restraint not to spend another $1,000 on a radio. But great, fantastic. You know, and I practiced activations on Parks on the Air about 6 or 7 times before I did this, and I'm really, really glad that I did that. I think that was a good decision. That's what I love about Parks on the Air, is it's a great testing ground for your equipment, for things that you want to try. It's a great testing ground for CW. You know, before you make the investment of coming out here, you can just go to a local park, or the closest Parks on the Air location you can find. That worked really, really well for me. So I'm so excited. This is great. End-fed half waves rule. They're great antennas. This is Kilo Delta 7 Quebec Oscar Whiskey, and get out there and go play with your radios. 7-3, everyone.